Welcome, everyone. Before we introduce our keynote speaker, I just want to remind you that this and all the sessions today are eligible for CPE, and all you need to do is answer the polling questions in the session as they come up. So in 2019, we were fortunate to actually have adopted and implemented Zoom as our form of communication within the firm. And it increased our ability to communicate and connect with our clients and associates. It turned out to be a great decision because who would have thought 5 months ago that we would be on Zoom calls pretty much on an hourly basis every day. And this is now part of our new normal. And so it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Harry Moseley from Zoom. Harry is the global CIO and brings to Zoom a blend of transformational leadership, disruptive innovation, and corporate growth strategies. As the former CIO and managing director for KPMG, Harry was responsible for technology and innovation to support the firm's competitive growth. Prior to KPMG, he was the CIO of Blackstone, the co-CIO and head of investment banking technology at Credit Suisse, and the CTO and managing director for UBS Americas. He has been inducted in the CEO magazine's Hall of Fame, recognized as one of the world's top 100 CIOs by Computer World, and honored by Irish Magazine as one of its annual Wall Street 50 in 2011 and 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Harry Moseley.
Hi, Sheila. Good morning to everybody. And it's a real pleasure and an honor to be here and to present to you this morning. So thank you for the kind words about the Zoom platform. We love our clients. We actually don't think of our clients as clients. We think of our clients as partners. So it's great to partner with your great firm. So let me share my content. So I'm doing something a little different. I'm running a new version of our software. And so what you'll notice here is that rather than see me off to the side, you can actually see me in front of the slide. So it's much like as if, Sheila, I was in your boardroom and I was presenting off my laptop to the big screen. The screen would be behind me. And so now I can point to things. So it's more like an immersive experience in the real world. So I'm going to talk for the next 20 minutes or so about the future of work and what I characterize as the next normal. So before I get started, I need everybody just to read this disclosure. So I'll give a few seconds for that. I know you're all speed readers. Okay, so hopefully everybody's got to read that, and so let's go on. So I'm Harry Moseley, and Sheila, thank you for that warm introduction. I think you covered everything, so no need to repeat that. So I'm going to go through and talk about Zoom a little bit, talk about the future of work, and then talk about the navigating the next normal, and then we'll open up the floor for a Q&A. Great. So a little bit about us. The Zoom story is a love story. We often frequently refer to Zoom in this way. Why? Eric Yuan is our CEO and founder, and Eric when he was living in China, he used to spend 10 hours a day traveling by train to go and see his girlfriend in another city. That girlfriend ultimately became his wife. But meanwhile, it's like when he was traveling on the train, he was always thinking there must be a better way to connect with people. And so he always had this vision about how we can connect people. Our mission is about keeping your enterprise always connected with easy to use, secure, and innovative video-first communications platform. And we always say it's like we want to meet and be happy. And we'll talk more about that now. So in short, the Zoom was founded in 2011. And as I said before, Eric Yuan is our CEO and founder. And Eric joined WebEx in 1997. He was the number 8 programmer. WebEx went public in 2000, ultimately got acquired by Cisco in 2007. And in 2011, Eric said, it's like our customers aren't happy. They don't like our platform. It's a video first world. It's a mobile first world. And the technology stack had changed dramatically. And whilst he had built WebEx and now was responsible for all collaboration software at Cisco, he felt that a clean slate was needed. A white sheet of paper was needed. We needed to re-architect this platform. Cisco didn't want to do that, so Eric left and founded Zoom. So here we are, 9 years later, almost 3,000 employees globally. We have 19 offices, which are all closed. With respect to our offices, I'm sure everybody's thinking, well, when are we planning to reopen our offices and go back to them? We've told our employees that we are not going to consider opening any of our offices before January 2021. We have 17 data centers globally, and that's part of our secret sauce, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then our net promoter score is 70. We went public a little over a year ago on NASDAQ under the ticker symbol of ZM. And our Q1 revenue was $328 million, which represents 169% year on year. Last year alone, we did over 300 new features to the platform, and we've been cash flow positive. In terms of our growth trajectory, we had in December of 2019, a little over, I guess that's 8 months ago now, we were hosting over 10 million daily participants, which we thought was a lot. And then you sort of go to March, and that grew to 200 million daily participants. And then in April, we exceeded 300 million daily participants. So whilst we're a 9-year-old company, I often say, yes, we're a 9-year-old company, but we had this growth spurt, like, one of our children did when they were younger. It's like they went to bed at 3'6" tall, and they wake up in the morning and they're 4 feet tall. And that's kind of like the growth spurt that we had over the first half of this year. We're now, a much larger company and a much more well-known company, and our utilization has obviously grown significantly. In terms of another measure that we use is annualized meeting minutes. So in January, we were exceeding 100 billion annualized meeting minutes. And in April, we exceeded 2 trillion. And so one of the questions we frequently get is, well, how did we sort of handle all of this incredible growth? Because nobody in the world had any idea what was coming at us with coronavirus, COVID-19, this global health pandemic, etc. And that is part of our technology architecture. We have a distributed architecture. We have our 17 data centers around the world, and we're able to leverage different data centers in geographical regions. So in the US, as an example, we have East Coast, Central, and West Coast. And if the East Coast data centers are busy, we're able to leverage our central data centers and West Coast. And so as the sun travels to the west and people are starting to work, the data centers in the east start to become idle, and we're able to sort of leverage those data centers over time. Meanwhile, with all this growth, we've managed to, as I said before, maintain our net promoter score at 70, our customer satisfaction score at 90 plus, and our service levels of 4.9, which is really rather astonishing. And so let's talk about the future of work. The world of work has literally changed forever. Hate to reference 9/11, but this is kind of like a 9/11 event. The world will be different forever. We will think differently about work. We will behave differently about work. The way I characterize it is the myths of the past have been eroded. Some of those myths, as an example, was people working from home wasn't practical. Well, we've proven that wrong. In many cases, not in all cases, but in many cases, people are very effective working from home. And in several organizations that I've spoken to, where they really measure the productivity of their employees, have determined that their employees are actually more productive working from home. Not because they're working longer hours, they're just able to focus. They have less interruptions in their daily schedule. Another myth that's been busted, so to speak, is the myth that we have to hire in the particular city. So we've become aware that we can hire in a geographically agnostic fashion. We can hire anywhere in the world. We can hire people in Italy. We can hire people in Germany. You can hire people in Israel. And in many cases, you don't have to actually relocate them. They can work from there. And you have to think about time zones and things like that. But it creates a greater flexibility. So it's less about sort of quote work from home. It's more about the work from anywhere. Of course, there's different challenges that come with that, which is how do you collaborate in these different models in a distributed model, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Another comment here is, sort of is it sort of working at home or is it living at work? So that's what my wife used to say a couple of weeks back, was it feels like we're sort of living at work. And so let's talk about that. So, we've learned to use personal tools for business and business tools for personal use. But there's difficulty in sort of working these longer hours, and you've had to develop new skills. In many cases, you have both partners living at home, and now you've got your kids at home, and the kids are being educated at home. So now you're working from home. You're educating your kids at home, and you're a caregiver too. So that creates an awful lot of stress. And so how do people balance that? One of the things that we've all heard over the last few weeks is this notion of fatigue, because everybody's staring at a screen. I don't know if it's so much staring at the screen. I was on a panel last night with a group in Asia, and this topic came up, and I ask you all to think about the following. So if you go to the office at 7:30 a.m. in the morning and you have back-to-back meetings all the way through to 7:30 p.m., you're probably going to be fatigued. If you join a video meeting on Zoom at 7:30 in the morning and you have back-to-back Zoom meetings during the day till 7:30 at night, you're probably equally going to be fatigued. The difference comes about that if you are actually in the office, you have all of these unnatural breaks. Somebody could come into your office and say, hey, you want to grab lunch? You want to go out and get a cup of coffee? I have a quick question for you. Can we huddle on this, etc.? Those sorts of unplanned events, unplanned meetings don't happen when you're working from home or living at work. No one's going to knock on the front door of my house and say, hey, Harry, you want to go for a walk around the block? So it's incumbent upon you as an individual to sort of schedule those unnatural breaks, if you will, during the day so you don't get fatigued. As an example, I will take my puppy. Yes, we're one of those families that got a Corona puppy. He's a golden doodle, 6 months old. So I schedule time in the morning. I'll take a walk around the neighborhood for 15, 20 minutes, and I'll do the same in the afternoon. And that creates a nice break for me, so I don't get the fatigue. And so the video conferencing is keeping us all connected. Companies or employees are navigating this virtual world in a secure fashion, and we're finding the balance between sort of the work and the personal life. But we do have lots of distractions, as I said before, with sort of having to educate your children. Love to tell the story about, I was talking to one of our clients. He and his wife live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and they've got 2 kids, 4 and 6. And so he and his wife are working at home, and the kids don't understand what this concept is. It's like working from home. What does that mean? So the kids are used to their parents obviously being home, but being home to play games, watch a movie, coloring, read stories, what have you. So this couple did was they actually put duct tape on the floor of their apartment and taught the kids that on this side of the line, mommy and daddy are at work and we can't be disturbed. And if you're on this side of the line, we're at home. So I thought that was a very creative way. Another great story I love to share is sort of quote, when you're in the office, you manage by walking around. One of the CIOs for one of our clients was telling me recently how, every week he would fly to a different city somewhere in the world to meet with his team. And when he was there, he would walk around the office. With COVID-19, the notion of travel has gone out the window. And so how is he connecting with his team? So every day he makes a list of employees in different centers, and he will get up at sort of 3 o'clock in the morning and call employees in his Bangalore office, or he'll call colleagues in London, or he'll call colleagues in Sydney, just out of the blue. And this is like multiple levels down in the organization. And he's not calling them on a project, and he's not calling them about an issue. He's just calling them to see, how they're doing at this very challenging time in all of our lives. And he said the feedback that he gets from around the globe when he does this is like really rather amazing. And it's also a great catalyst and a great bond of the teams on a global basis. So I thought that was a very creative way. And we're, sort of evolving. We're not going to go back to the old normal. I haven't spoken to a single client who expects things to resume like they were in what I call LBC, life before Corona. Conference rooms. Many clients have said they're going to limit their conference rooms to 5 people in a room. And if you need more people to attend a meeting, then you'll have multiple rooms and you'll connect them with video. Videos become integrated into the workflow. And, companies are going to, sort of take a phased approach. I was talking to a client recently who talked about one of the things that they overlooked was the queues for the elevators in the lobby. How are they going to house everybody? Because in the past, maximum capacity in the elevator was 12. Now the capacity is 3. It's much like, sort of school busing. The capacity was 70. Now it's 10. So these are all sorts of issues that we will overcome as a race because that's what we do. But things are going to be dramatically different. And then trust and security, keeping meetings safe, securing the processes, empowering people with tools to run safe and secure meetings, and quickly adapting to the changing threats and the landscape. So it's one of the things that we did, for example, within the Zoom platform when we did our pivot starting on April the 1st, was we took all the security controls and we bundled them together under what we call the privacy shield, such that the host or the co-host can control the meetings. And we've done several other pretty significant changes from a security and privacy perspective. And what we have as a leadership team embarked upon is raising the bar on security and privacy because of the types of transactions that are being transacted on this platform. So navigating to the next normal. Remote and hybrid working is going to be the new normal. If we think that everybody's going to get back in the office at some future point, I think that's a long way out. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's like I think a lot of people had expectations that when we got to the middle of 2020, things would start to resume. I think we're a long way out from that. I've heard sort of organizations talk about it being at least 12 months. I read something this morning, expectations are now 18 months out. So this is the sort of the next normal that we're going to. And that next normal is one where we're going to see some population of employees in the office and some people working in a distributed fashion, working again from anywhere. I've heard of people like relocating to other parts of the country because they can get better real estate value for their dollar, so to speak, get better space, live in a different climate, etc. Because now they can work from anywhere. And I love this survey that IBM did, where 75% of the respondents indicated they would like to continue to work remotely post COVID-19, or at least occasionally. And I think, and so there's going to be a challenge here, and that challenge is as follows. If everybody was in the office working, collaborating is, pretty straightforward. It's like, many great companies in the world over the last 5, 7, 10 years have built out these fabulous collaboration spaces with whiteboards and digital whiteboards and all, and soft seating and lounges and what have you. I don't think those are going to work so well in the future. So we're going to have some people working in the office collaborating. We're going to have some people working in a distributed fashion. The challenge is how do we collaborate in this hybrid world? And so I fundamentally believe that we're going to see some great technology that's going to enable that. The new workplace is a digital workplace. It's all about being simple and being seamless and being frictionless. The new digital workplace is about any device, anywhere, at any time. We've said that many times in the past, but now it is part of the next normal, and I believe we're moving right in that direction. One of the things we introduced from Zoom recently was the introduction of Zoom for Home. On the right here, you can see the D10Me. So this is a fabulous device. It's 27 inches. Attaches to your laptop, so you can use it as an auxiliary screen. You don't need an additional license for it. You can use your existing Zoom license. It has all your Zoom meetings on there. It's a touch screen. It's a digital whiteboard. You can annotate the presentation, etc. Super, super cool board. And we believe that this is going to enhance the productivity and immersive in-office collaboration from the home. So this is like our first step into this collaboration in this, what I classify as this hybrid model, people in the office and people working from home. We've seen that the convergence of phone and video, it's no longer about the phone system and it's no longer about the video system. It's about the communication system, which is voice and video. And so we have the ability to make a phone call, elevate the phone call into content sharing, elevate the phone call into video, and then bring that phone call actually into a meeting. And this is going to increase productivity in profound ways. And as I said before, allowing workers to work where they want and how they want, where, when, and how they want to work. And there's going to be some experimentations in this area, I believe, but there's been a lot of change, and it's all about the collaboration. And some people have asked me, well, Harry, you retired in December of 2017. What made you join Zoom? And it was the notion that collaboration, locally, nationally, and globally, was desperately needed. In my prior employers, we tried hard to do that, and to say we didn't make progress would not have been accurate, but it didn't work in a seamless and frictionless fashion. We bought different technologies and glued them together. And so now we are finally at a point with a platform like Zoom where we can collaborate in a seamless fashion. Last couple of points. So Professor Albert Mehrabian from the University of LA did analysis of communications, and he boiled this down to 3 elements: words, tone, and body language. And the analysis yielded that words account for 7%, tone accounts for 38%, and body language accounts for 55%. Now, you need all 3. It's kind of like words without tone, without body language, not very effective, but all 3 work together. I remember in September of 2005, the CEO called me and said, "Hey, Harry, I just want to call you and tell you that high-def video conferencing system you put in is absolutely fantastic." So, okay, that's great. Thanks very much. Quick question. Sure. I said, why was this high-def video conferencing so important? And his answer then was, because when I'm asking a really difficult question about a multi-million-dollar investment to a partner on the other side of the planet, I don't want to hear the answer. I want to see the answer. And that conversation has stayed with me my entire life since then. And then transforming the future of work, embracing employee values, enabling people to work where they want to work, and supporting professionals with enabling technology. All these things are important. There was a paper done several years back by the Harvard Business Review, which talked about employee experience versus employee engagement. Employee engagement is really important, how they engage with your firm, how they engage with the company, and their commitment to the company. Employee experience is different. Employee experience is, how well can I get my job done? What is their experience like in getting their job done? Is there a lot of bureaucracy in the system? Is it easy to use? Do I have the right tools to do my job, etc.? And what they found, that's a great paper. I urge you to read it. What they found, two facts. One was that companies that invested in employee experience had twice the revenue and 4 times the operating income. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about why you should invest in employee experience. And then finally, Zoom 5.2 is being released this week. I'm actually running on it. As I mentioned at the start, I'm running beta software. This will be in production this week. And so we've got lots of different features going on here. So one of them is, as you can see, the ability to share the content as my virtual background. I think that's pretty cool. I always commented on our need for this, and so now we finally have it. That's great. And we did a couple of other things to sort of enhance the, how do I put this? Enhance the culture. I think that culture is a big challenge that we've got in the distributed environment. So, you know, it's important when you connect with colleagues to have fun with colleagues too, because you spend a lot of time with them. It breaks the ice. It enables a better working relationship. So I'm going to stop sharing. And now you can see my virtual background, but I'm going to put up a different virtual background. Oops. Put up a different virtual background, choosing it. So yeah, so now you can see I'm at the beach. Well, that's okay. We've had that for a while, but now I can do something else. And see, yep, I can put on my sunglasses. I can put on an Oculus. I can put on some real fancy sunshades. I can pretend I'm in Gay Paris. So we have these different filters we can put on, which are kind of like just for fun. And with that, I'll go back to my regular background and happy to take some questions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Harry. So we did have a few questions pop up. So I'll start with the first one. So we talked about the new version of Zoom 5.2. That was one of the first questions that came up. And so is the new screen sharing available? Is that part of the 5.2?
Yes.
Form? Okay. So I think we have several questions asking that. They like it. I like it personally as well.
Good. It's pretty cool, right?
It is.
It's really like it just sort of creates that sort of more real life experience as if I was really like in the boardroom presenting to you.
Yes, exactly. And I also like the different virtual backgrounds and accessories too. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then the other question is, is Zoom moving into telemedicine? I don't know if that's already a platform you all are offering.
Yeah, so healthcare healthcare and education have been the two first verticals that we've been leading with for several years, and we do an awful lot in the healthcare space from telemedicine. Some of our clients have actually got their mobile devices to do things like doing heart rate and measuring blood pressure. There's lots of use cases in the area of cancer, as an example, and facilitating cancer patients instead of having to take that 45-minute drive to go see their oncologist. They can do things over Zoom and avoid having to waste an hour and a half of their precious lives. There's one company I love talking about called Intarsia, where they've created a 44 millimeter vial, which is 4 millimeters in diameter, and they insert it under the third layer of skin, which is for diabetes patients. And this vial lasts 30 days, and it's a body pump. There's no digital, there's no battery, there's no nothing, and it takes the dosage so that the diabetic patient doesn't have to inject themselves twice a day, which is changing their lives. You know, another great use case, I love talking about, a friend of mine is the chief operating officer for a company that provides consultative services to eye surgeons. So when the eye surgeon is operating on the patient's eyeball, they put a 4K camera on the surgery procedure, and then the consultants join and are guiding the surgeon. So if the surgeon has questions or they have observations, so that's pretty cool. So it's the way I characterize that, Sheila, is like we're helping people to see.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's so we do a lot in the healthcare, and we're going to do a lot more. We see that as a great business vertical.
Great. Before I move on to the other question that came up, I know we have some polling questions that you wanted to put out to the audience. If maybe we can run those right now. So the first question is, are you using a video conference platform at your company?
I like these results, Sheila. We got to focus on the second and third line, but the top line, yay! Thank you all very much. Love that.
Catherine, do you want to show those results? Is the audience seeing those? I want to make sure. Yes, a whopping 76% are using Zoom.
Fantastic. Thank you all very much for your trust and your support.
I think we have a couple other questions as well. Catherine, do you want to pop those up? Polling. On average, how many of your participants turn on their video during conference calls? I'm curious about this. I know for me, I've gotten into a habit now of putting the video on because I don't feel connected when I'm just on the phone. It's really interesting how that mindset has shifted for me.
It's a video first world. It's like, sort of when, I often say, Sheila, everybody is now a millennial. and so why do I say that? Because it used to be millennials who do, sort of, they redefine chatting, which, sort of when I grew up was like, using a phone with a line. Chatting for them is a digital communication with video and emojis and pictures and video. It's like, and all sorts of stuff. And they've redefined connecting for them is when they connect with someone, they can see them and hear them. And, my father-in-law, 82, he's using Zoom. Why? Because, he connects with his children and his grandchildren. And so I say everybody's now a millennial.
And I will share my own personal story. So I have siblings I have a brother in Sydney, 3 brothers in the Philippines, and a sister in California, and parents that are living separately here in Houston. And every Saturday we do a Zoom call. And we have not skipped since March. So it's been an amazing resource, really. Even my 84-year-old and 70-year-old mom are able to use it. So
yeah. So now I have a question for you. Are you going to continue doing that when things get to whatever that new normal is?
For sure. That was one of the silver linings that I intend to continue. It's
awesome.
Been cool.
Yeah. Great.
So we have another question I wanted to pose. Let's go ahead and pull up the results.
We didn't share the results of this one, though.
Yeah. So this is the 75%. So none.
On average, so.
Put up the video.
Yeah, so it looks like 60, 68. So 75% are at least half or more.
Yes. So starting to shift that mindset.
Yep.
This is really a good question. I think if we could get your insight on what are some best practices for collaboration among the workforce? Because it used to be we could walk down the hall. I think we talked about this a little bit about managing by, walking around. But, like brainstorming together, working with coworkers on a particular project. Are there advice from you on how to easily foster that in a remote environment?
Yeah, I think, sort of using the chat capability with, sort of putting the group chat together. And if you don't have, a touch screen at home, you can also join your meeting, and I'm going to do it right now. Join your meeting on your iPad, and let me show you how this works. So I kind of like doing this. Just give me a second. Why don't you keep talking while I just join? For some reason I can't find the meeting invite. So what I typically do is I typically join the meeting on my iPad. And when I do that, then I can use the iPad whiteboard, and I find that very effective for doing whiteboard.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And then they want to know where to purchase Zoom Home.
Yes. If you go to d10.com, the D10 website, and it's right there. It's right on the front page. You can reserve it. I think it's $5.99.
Great. And this one, is asking about whether your company added employees in proportion to the growth of your users, or has the technology been able to accommodate that growth? I guess from a
scaling perspective, yeah, we scale the technology and the people, and yes, we've been adding people. We've been adding salespeople, support people, customer success people. We've been growing. We brought in external teams in a variety of different locations around the world to support us from great partners, and so that's been a great experience too. So yes, we've had to grow the company as well. You don't get to these sorts of numbers without growing.
That's true. There was one commentary about the fun side of Zoom being added and how their 5-year-old daughter has started using Zoom to keep in contact with friends, and will absolutely love that option.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have one more question that I can fit in. So what is one thing that keeps you up at night, Harry, about the future of work and the challenges that we're facing in this crisis?
Yes, I've joined on my iPad, so I'll show you the whiteboard in a second. So what keeps me up at night? It's scaling has been hard. To support the incredible growth that we've had. Always worry about things like, sort of security, because that's a never-ending battle, and we are excited about introducing our end-to-end encrypted service by the end of this month. So this is where the keys are created actually from the client side. So we don't actually have the key. So we have actually no ability to decrypt. And we're excited about, so that's our first release by the end of this month. And we're looking at a subsequent, releases as we go down on this journey of raising the bar on security. And we believe that with our Zoom phone, we'll be able to introduce an end-to-end encrypted service where people will be able to join over phone, because PSTN lines will not be able to join an end-to-end encrypted. So those are two things. And people, I think, we have an incredible global team, very passionate, very enthusiastic, very humble, but we're, our people are working extremely hard to support our clients. Like I said in the beginning, we don't think of clients as clients, we think of clients as partners. And we are, if nothing else, we're all about their success, because we fundamentally believe if our partners are successful, then we will be. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Harry. Did you want to show just real quick? I think you mentioned that the whiteboard on your iPad.
Yeah. So now you can see my whiteboard, and and so it's you can and it's really easy. I'm just doing this with my iPad and my Apple Pencil, and you can share content and annotate over it. as an example, yesterday we're redoing we're doing another renovation in our home, and yesterday I was on a call with our architect over Zoom, and she put up the architecture drawings, and I was marking up the drawings with my Apple Pen on my iPad, and that was very cool. So it's and it was much more effective. She only lives like 2 blocks from where I live, but it was much more effective because she didn't have to know, sort of when we did a prior renovation, she would come here and we'd have the drawings, and, she'd put over the transparent paper and we'd mark up the paper, and we just did all this online. So it does work.
Amazing. Well, we've run out of time, but it was such a great session and really appreciate your insights, Harry. I learned a lot. I'm probably going to revisit the video afterwards because the whole notion of the future of work and the evolution is just resonating with me since pretty much all of us are remote right now, all 320 people. So I can't thank you enough. For those of you that are tuning in, we are going to move things along to our next information sessions, which is our CFO Corner and CEO Corner. And so in the CFO session, we will be talking about impactful accounting strategies. And in the CEO session, we have 4 Houston area corporate leaders sharing their stories of how they are managing through the pandemic. And so if you're looking for the next session links, please refer to our PDF agenda. They're also posted in the chat window. And all you need to do is copy and paste the session link that you want to join in your web browser, and you should be good to go. We'll again take a short 3-minute break, so get your refill and see you soon. And thanks again, Harry.
Thank you, Sheila. Real pleasure to be here. I wish that everybody stays safe and stays healthy, and hopefully we come out of this faster than we all expect.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, Harry. Have a great one. Bye-bye.